What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Warriors Report. It's time to talk about some new Og Anunoby rumors as well as some contract details, potential contract details for Fred VanVleet. I'm also going to be talking about how one of the big men the Raptors are pursuing is re-signed with their team, and I'm going to give you a little update regarding Pascal Siakam's future with the Toronto Raptors. So if you're ready to watch this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you wish to hit the subscribe button as well, that would be very much appreciated. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, as you guys know, I do like to give out shoutouts on my channel, and the shoutout for today's video goes out to Darshan Seva. So Darshan, thank you so much for supporting this channel through your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. Now, let's talk about the Og Anunoby rumor that was provided by NBA Central, which went on to state, leaked sources say that Og Anunoby isn't happy in Toronto per Rick Bucher. Now, I think I will state one thing regarding this report, guys. We obviously got some report a few days back from Bob McCowan, stating that he talked to someone in NBA Insider that told him that OG wants out of Toronto. It seems like this report here is kind of just being regurgitated again by Rick Bucher. Again, not saying that he's not a legitimate source, but it just seems like he's someone that is kind of just following in what was already stated. Like, it was already stated that OG apparently wants out of Toronto. We haven't heard anything from Og Anunoby, but I also want to talk to you about this update we got a few days ago, courtesy of Raptors Update, that was reporting Og Anunoby has not been made available as yet by the Raptors, and Brian Windhorst was reporting this. So again, I'm going to take Brian Windhorst's word more than Rick Bucher's. Brian is known as a good reporter who has a lot of connections around the NBA and has legitimate sources. So again, I know I was reporting that Og Anunoby can potentially be unhappy with the Raptors, but I don't know, guys. The more I think of it, why would Og Anunoby be unhappy with the Raptors? He's in a good situation. He's going to land himself a pretty big contract during this offseason as well. So again, maybe we'll find out in the future about this, but I just don't see the Raptors wanting to move on from Og Anunoby. Now, I know people based off of that Portland game are going to say that we found Precious Achiuwa who can play a similar role. He's a lot cheaper. I will say one thing, Og Anunoby is a lot better overall. Let's be honest. Precious has a lot of potential. No disrespect to him. OG has great potential. And there's also some reports out there that apparently Adrian Wojnarowski was stating that there could be offers up to 3. If the Raptors decide to trade Og Anunoby, they could receive an offer up to 3 first-round picks. And now we know, obviously, this was being reported a little while back that apparently the Raptors rejected an offer of 3 first-round picks for Og Anunoby. And while most NBA fans will tell you that's quite a bit for Og Anunoby, and I tend to agree, you do have to realize the Raptors are in no position to want to trade Og Anunoby. I know some of these rumors have been coming out that Og Anunoby is not happy with the Raptors, but OG fills a need for the Raptors, which is, let's be honest, it's a very difficult position to fill around the NBA. A 3-and-D has been one of the most coveted positions in the NBA for about a decade now. Those are really difficult positions to find, and also add into the fact that OG is 25 years old. He's on a very reasonable contract, and I don't think he's reached his full potential yet. Then all of a sudden, you realize why the Raptors' asking price is very high for Og Anunoby. So again, I just don't see the Raptors trading Og Anunoby. I know all these rumors are coming out about him not being happy. I just don't think that's the case, guys. He doesn't really have a reason not to be happy. But I know I've stated in the past that he may not be happy because he's wanting to be the second and third option, but Og Anunoby also has to show a lot more offensively. Now let's talk about another Og Anunoby rumor, courtesy of NBA Central yet once again. They were stating that Og Anunoby, Eastern Conference GM, pegs Og Anunoby as the best available player at the NBA trade deadline. And again, you could tie into this the 3 first-round picks as to why the Raptors will be asking, and potentially are asking that much for Og Anunoby, because the Raptors don't have to trade him. And also, again, considering all the players around the NBA, there aren't a lot of good players. Let's be honest. There are not a lot of superstar players. And Og Anunoby is the next best thing. His contract, his age, everything he provides for any team around the NBA. So obviously, if he is the best available player at the NBA trade deadline, the asking price is going to be absolutely insane for him. So again, we'll see what happens at the NBA trade deadline, but let's talk about Fred VanVleet because there's some news about him as well. Now, this was being reported by NBA Central that Fred VanVleet wants a deal comparable to the 4-year, $130 million one Tyler Hero signed with the Miami Heat per Rick Bucher once again. So again, I'm not stating that these reports are false, guys. It just seems like the Raptors are a hot topic around the NBA. Everyone knows, every fan base, every NBA team knows that the Raptors are going to be one of those teams you want to keep an eye on. What better way to get more attention to yourselves as a reporter than to continuously talk about players that are related to the Raptors. So again, that's all I'll say. I'm not saying that these reports are false, but 4 years, 130 million is quite a bit for Fred VanVleet, man. Like I've defended Fred a lot on this channel. I'm not paying him that money. That's approximately $33 million a year for Fred VanVleet, who's 29 years old, who's going to be 30 years old in the future. And he's by the time the deal is over, he's going to be 32, 33 years old. So I know he makes the Raptors a very good team. He's done some wonderful things with the Raptors. He's having a struggling season. Yes, I'm well aware of that, but I don't think I'm paying him more than anything. Even $25 million is quite a bit. And I know that a new deal is supposed to kick in with NBA in a couple of seasons where the contracts are going to gradually increase like crazy. So maybe it's related to that, but I still don't see how I can't justify paying Fred VanVleet $33 million a year. That is way too much. And considering that he wants a deal comparable to Tyler Hero, you need to take a few things into consideration. Tyler Hero is what, 22, 23 years old. Fred VanVleet is 28, 29 years old. So he's getting up there and he's getting slowly past his prime. So, and he's already shown signs of slowing down as well. That is way too much money for a team that needs to pay Og Anunoby, that's going to have to pay Gary Trent Jr. in the offseason. Again, that deal isn't happening, guys. I know before people freak out, Masai and Bobby Webster are simply not paying Fred VanVleet the money he wants. That's a little bit too much money if you ask me. But let's talk about another rumor, because the Raptors were interested in this big man, but unfortunately he has re-signed with his team yesterday. Now, talking about getting paid big money, this was being reported that Miles Turner, Pacers agreed to 2 years, $60 million renegotiation and extension. So this went on to state that Miles Turner and the Indiana Pacers have reached an agreement on a rare negotiation and extension. Turner will up his current salary by $17 million while adding 2 new years and nearly $41 million to his new deals, because Turner is extension eligible and the Pacers have cap space. They were able to push Turner's salary from $18 million to $35 million this season, which is insane. From there, Indiana added 2 years to that deal through 2024-2025 season. So obviously this impacts the Raptors greatly, because the Raptors are in the market for a starting caliber center, and Miles Turner was being linked to the Raptors. Now, what does this mean for other teams, particularly the San Antonio Spurs, who we know want 2 first-round picks for Jakob Poeltl? I think this is great news for them, because now all of a sudden there's one less big man on the trade market, and more teams are calling the Spurs for Jakob Poeltl's services. So all of a sudden, the asking price remains just as high, if not higher. There's less options available for teams like the Raptors, and now all of a sudden it becomes really hard to trade for someone, a big man that is a rare commodity around the NBA. So again, 2 years, $60 million is quite a bit. A lot of Raptors fans were complaining that Pascal Siakam is getting paid too much money at $35 million, and you're getting Miles Turner, who's, look, don't get me wrong, guys, he's a good player, but there's no way he is worth $35 million. That's an insane amount. Even $30 million for 2 years is quite a bit to be paying him, but I understand why they're paying him. They're paying him because centers are very rare. They're like that rare Pokemon. I used this example before, but it's like a rare Pokemon that you have a hard time getting. So you get that. You're going to pay a lot. So let's talk about Pascal Siakam, though. Let's talk about our last news here. And this was related to Pascal Siakam and the Raptors. Now, this was a few days ago that Jake Fisher was reporting. Shout out to Rap City on Instagram. They were reporting Pascal Siakam wants to stay in Toronto despite all the losing/tanking. Now, this should come as to no surprise to anyone that follows the Raptors. Pascal Siakam is a very loyal player to the Raptors. The Raptors drafted him with the 27th pick, and also considering where they were, let's be honest, where Pascal Siakam was when they drafted him. He came into this league as a role player, and the fact that the Raptors not only gave him opportunities, they also signed him to a major big contract as well, which at that time seemed like quite a bit, but now it looks like a bargain. $35 million for someone like Pascal Siakam. He's definitely outperforming his contract, and he's someone who's always been very faithful to the Raptors. I think this is a no-brainer. You build your team around Pascal Siakam as well as Scotty Barnes as well. So I don't see the Raptors moving Pascal. I know there's been trade rumors about how the Raptors may rebuild, retool, whatever the case is. I don't think Pascal Siakam is going anywhere. This is just nice to hear, though, because this is something around the NBA that isn't very common. Unfortunately, a lot of players are quick to switch teams, which I don't blame them, but Pascal Siakam understands that the Raptors is where he wants to be, and I'm happy as a fan to have Pascal Siakam. So again, good news for the Raptors. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on all of these crazy rumors we've been hearing about the Raptors. So what do you think of this? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, I do have a trivia question for you today. And that trivia question is, which team allows the least amount of points in the NBA? Is it A, Cavaliers? Is it B, the Heat? Is it C, the Bucks? Or is it D, the Clippers? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly first in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. So that will be it for today's video, guys. So if you're still watching this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We're super close to 4,000 subscribers. And also make sure to like this video as well. So that will be it for today's video. So thank you so much for watching this video. And I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.